Hello everyone. Hello and welcome to the New Moon in Taurus Intention Setting Workshop. I have a little bit of a different setup today. We're kind of in tech limbo, so if you'll bear with me, I need to know if you can hear me and see me okay. And this is really, it's a prop tonight. It's not even plugged in. I tried to do a test broadcast earlier and didn't get any audio from it. And it's just because I'm having to broadcast from my laptop. And so if you'll let me know that you can hear me, that would be fantastic. So I'm Phaedra. I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystick, Physick, Astrology. For those of you who are new to the group or who don't know me, I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice to really kind of help you remember why you came, to help you reconnect with your soul purpose, right? So my aim is really to provide guidance on how we can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect our lives in a positive way. And so really these broadcasts are about learning to respond to your transits rather than just react to your transits. And so just as the full moon is a great time to let go of what's not serving you any longer, the new moon is a time for conception. It's a time for planting a seed. It's often for something which will kind of emerge more fully into your experience in the next full moon or at the next full moon in the same sign 6 months from now. Hi, William. Let me know. Can you hear me? We have a new broadcast set up tonight, and I just want to make sure everyone can get audio from the feed. The microphone is not plugged in, so pretend that it's more than just a prop. But in this video, what I'm going to do is walk you through the practice of really kind of identifying what it is you want to manifest in relation to Taurus and the house that it occupies in your natal chart. I'm going to help you get clear on the outcome that you want and set intentions around that outcome with an eye to, ideally, we would be taking real steps to manifest those intentions in the days just after the new moon. This new moon and our next new moon are a little interesting. This next new moon is in the same sign, the same house, I believe. No, I'm thinking of the full moons. Never mind. I just wrote June and got it all published. I'm thinking of the full moons. But really with the new moons, what we have next month going into that is we have Mercury entering into his second retrograde of the year. And that's not necessarily a good time to make an initiation. And I talk more about that in the June overview and short reports. But what you can do as we move into July, because it is such a month of uncertainty with retrogrades and with eclipses and with Mercury about to retrograde, is be thinking about what it is you really want out of these areas of your life. Even if it's not the right time to make an initiation, you can certainly get clear on what's important to you, what it is you really want as an outcome, and you can still set the intention. You can still do the visualization. You can still write the affirmation and do the work, even if it's not the right time to start, even if it's not the right time to make that first step. So just kind of keep in mind that you may want to use these new moons and full moons in that way, more in your head about what it is you want, rather than taking physical action in the real world. And the other thing I would want you to keep in mind right now is that taking action in the physical world, you may end up having to redo some things. You may have to go back and revisit and tweak and revise because we are in a state of flux. Regarding the state of flux, I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in the Sidereal Insights Astro Updates. It's going to broadcast tomorrow, so you may want to catch that broadcast. But in the meantime, thank you for joining me live. So we're going to be exploring tonight in the first part of our broadcast, Taurus, this particular new moon, right? In the second part of our broadcast, we'll go into what house this is falling into each of you by your sidereal rising sign, and we'll talk about what the themes of that house are, so that if you want to align with those themes, you can. And then in the third part of our broadcast, what we'll do is we'll talk more about Taurus as a theme, Taurus as an archetype, and we'll go over some prompts around how you can use this energy to set intentions, things that you might want to consider as you're setting intentions. But thank you for joining me live as we dive into Taurus and exploring themes of personal values and self-worth. We're going to talk a little bit about why appreciation and gratitude are so important. And then we're going to set our intentions for tapping into the new moon and Taurus energy so that you can manifest more abundance, greater security. That's really what we want, right? More enjoyment out of life. It's about finding enjoyment in life and knowing what it is we really want. So grab a pencil, a piece of paper, your sidereal natal chart, or at least know your rising sign. And what we're going to do is use this new moon to get clear. If you do need your sidereal natal chart, you can get yours online at mystickphysick.com/sidereal tools. I'm going to pop this in the comments, see if this works. It's weird. I'm working right off my laptop completely for this broadcast, and normally just my notes are on the laptop and a backup feed of the broadcast in case there's comments that I can't see on my cell phone, because I normally broadcast from my phone, and that's not happening this time. So bear with me. Hi, Danielle. I see you're on. Let me check, see what kind of comments we might have. And Rosalind is here. Yay. And Brandon. Thank you for clarifying, Brandon, that you can hear me well. My test broadcast didn't go so well. I tried to do a pre-recording of tomorrow's Sidereal Insights Astro Update, and I recorded the whole broadcast, and when I was done, there was no sound. So we'll be doing a take 2 on that. But let's talk first about this particular new moon in Taurus and what you need to know about it. So in the June overview, I'm going to kind of recap the introduction for you here. So going into June, we have Mars and Mercury out of bounds, right? We have several planets retrograde already. They're the heavier hitting planets, right? Not the minor planets that are the more personal in nature. It's the heavier hitting outer planets. So these are things that we're all kind of feeling in some way. General circumstances or things that might be affecting all of us. We're beginning to feel the influence of the July eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius. And so all of that kind of combines to create this state of flux that we find ourselves in. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of not knowing what directions things might go going forward, or not having all the pieces in place that you want to have in place in life to be comfortable knowing that you're on track, right? And so when we're facing that kind of uncertainty, and in some cases facing obstacles, we might tend to be a little bit more reactionary and confrontational, especially while we have Mars out of bounds. And so that reactivity can kind of keep us on edge for another couple of weeks, especially while we still have Mars and Mercury out of bounds. Now, Mars returns inbounds June 12th, Mercury returns inbounds June 17th, so not too much longer. But keep in mind, Mars is in sidereal Gemini and Mercury rules Gemini. So this flavor is kind of melding together. It's not a time to force things. So if there's anywhere in your life where you're experiencing obstacles of any kind, uncertainty, delays, slowdowns, those matters are best met where they are, right? Like, meet them at their own pace, be open-minded, and receptive in your attitude towards solutions or alternative ways forward, alternative ways of getting what you want. Try not to attach yourself to a particular idea about how things ought to be, or how things should proceed, or how they should happen. Because if you do, and if you attempt to kind of impose your will about that, that's kind of risky right now. And though that could end up leading to some disappointment. So be careful about that. And I'm going to hope that doesn't lead to disappointment in my case, because, yeah, I can think of some things that I might have tried to push too hard on lately that maybe I should be more patient about. So we all experience these. Just do your best. And what I would encourage you to do instead is to kind of just take a step back, take the time to observe, take the time to understand what is, get really clear about what it is you want, and then examine that gap between those two things, between what is and what it is you want. There's a lesson in that gap for you, but that can also help you find the way forward. And as I was reminded earlier today by a good friend of mine who pointed out, or helped me remember anyway, by her comments, is sometimes the shortest path to what you want or what you are trying to manifest is not a straight line, right? Sometimes the universe has other plans for you. So keep that in mind. This new moon is opposed Jupiter retrograde on top of it. So in Taurus, opposed Jupiter retrograde, Venus moving into Taurus, trine at the new moon to retrograde Pluto. This is kind of a cumulative energy around indulgence and enjoyment and relaxation and things that we personally find pleasurable, things we enjoy doing, that we take delight in, right? And so I wrote on On the website for the June overview, I wrote that decadence could be a theme touched off by this particular new moon. And what I meant by that, I really want to be clear. Like, I don't mean decadence in the term in the sense of like debauchery, right? I mean decadence in the sense of like a really deliciously yummy dessert that you just can't get enough of, right? So slow down, take your time, enjoy these however many weeks, right? Because we're moving into a season of flux, we're moving into a season of change, sometimes abrupt change, and that can be stressful. So a little bit of a breather at this new moon, enjoy it, take it for what it is. But with retrograde Jupiter opposing that new moon from Scorpio, events that are happening now could touch off really deep emotional responses. And so this is a time to be really, really clear about your priorities, about what's important to you, versus what's important to other people in your life that you may have significant contact and interaction with. It's a time to assess whether you're meeting each other's needs and whether you're on the same page. And what's wonderful is that with this new moon in Taurus, that's exactly what we're going to be doing tonight, is taking time to examine, have our priorities changed? Have our values changed? And should that then affect the intentions that we're setting, and in what way? Okay, so we're going to get into that later in the broadcast, but it's just kind of perfect timing for all of that. So really you want to be looking at whether in terms of your interactions with other people, or what's going on in your life, where you find Taurus and Scorpio in your chart, whether your resources are complementary, whether your desires are similar in terms of those other significant players and important people in your life, right? And if not, retrograde Jupiter really kind of is offering a second chance here to reestablish equilibrium if that equilibrium is missing, okay? Or if things have been knocked off balance in some way. So be clear about what you want, because being clear about what you want at least allows you to put your priorities first as you choose your direction and move forward into the new moon, right? And so what I want you to do, if you haven't already watched, or if you want a refresher on it, the video, 3 Important Eclipse Essentials You Need to Know. Let me see if I can, this is a hyperlink. Oh, I can copy the hyperlink. So here's a link to the video. I would encourage you, oh no, that didn't copy the hyperlink. That copied the actual text. But here we go. I'll get it to you. So this is the video on the website, but this is just kind of going to give you a refresher on things that you need to know as we move into eclipse season for realsies, right? Because the closer we get to eclipses, kind of the more, I don't want to say dangerous, that's not really the right word, but the more fraught, maybe that's the right word, it can be if you're not really aware of how eclipses work and how they can play out. And one of the things I want to call out is like ultimatums. Eclipse season is a bad time for ultimatums. Watch the video, I go into why, but it's going to help you know what you need to know as we move forward into eclipse season. Let's see, we also, like I said, have Venus entering Taurus. Now she's going to enter Taurus on the 4th, so that's just the day after the new moon. But what happens when Venus is in Taurus, because that's one of her favorite places to be, right? Generally, we want to experience a slower pace to life. We want to take time to savor things. We want to find enjoyment in our activities. We want to just kind of indulge, right? Maybe even be a little bit lazy. That's fine right now, because that's the energy that we have set up to work with. And so take advantage of it in that way. Next month, you may want to kind of take a similar approach, just because we're moving fully into that state of flux, and it might not be the right time to take action, but it's definitely the right time to get clear about what you want and just not stress about trying to rush through and hurry and get things done and make progress, okay? Now, I created a pair of guides called the Lunar Living Guides to Conscious Creation. They're available at the website. I think they're about $19 each. And what they do, I put them together to kind of teach you how to transform your relationship with what you manifest, right? So this is specifically lunar living practices for tapping into the new moon, tapping into the full moon. And they're especially good for you, like if you think that you're not really any good at manifesting, or if you think that you don't really know enough about astrology, or think that you don't have time to learn. I made them for you, right? So those two guides, what they do is they kind of teach you specific steps that you can take to honor your intention setting with a monthly practice, right? You can make it sacred. How to get more specific with your intentions through visualization, and how to know kind of where to dive deep and just kind of consciously release whatever it is that might be holding you back. And so really those guides kind of walk you through some of what we do live, but they walk you through it independently. So you don't necessarily need to have me coach you the whole way about, well, what does this house mean? And how does this sign affect our experiences? And how might this manifest? You can kind of tap into it yourself and really explore those energies and really explore those ideas. But the idea is that it kind of helps you kind of supercharge your manifesting. It aligns your intentions with your own personal natal blueprint. It helps you manifest what you want most out of every area of your life, not just like one or two areas of your life. And it helps you kind of make room for like more abundance, more abundant energy to come into and flow into your life. And so with those guides, I'm going to give you a link to the guides. Some of what they teach you may already know, especially if you join me live regularly. One of those things is how to get a copy of your birth chart. Well, most of you who join me already know how to do that, right? I also walk you through how to know the right zodiac sign and house for your practice each month. So if you don't know how to do that, this is going to give you a blueprint that you can apply every month, month after month, to figure it out on your own. And it's also going to help you understand what energies the zodiac sign and house represents, so that you know exactly how to put them to use, and then how to tie it all together. And it really just kind of puts that all together in a way where you don't necessarily need me for guidance. So for instance, like if you're traveling, or if you just can't join live sometime, or if you want to have a workbook to work from, even as you do join me live, you can use the Lunar Living Guides for Conscious Creation for that. But the idea is really to just make it super easy for you to align your practice with your own natal chart. But each workbook includes a series of worksheets to kind of guide you step by step through the intention setting practice or the releasing practice, whichever it is. You can buy them individually, or you can buy them in a bundle. And the bundle is actually what I want to talk to you about tonight, so I'm bringing this up. So, but the idea is so that you know how to move through these practices yourself independently, if you ever chose to, or if you just want guides to work along with while we do it live. The guides, if you're tired of not manifesting what it is you really want in life, this is where I found them helpful personally, by starting to actually pay attention to, well, where are these new moons happening? Where are the full moons happening? How can I work with this intentionally? If you kind of struggle to maintain a consistent intention setting practice because you feel like you don't have the time, that was like my big thing, right? And then it'll work for you even if you don't really know a lot about astrology, because I walk you through kind of step by step. And so with the guides, what you're going to get out of them is they're going to help show you the key step to manifesting what you want, how to just like give it a good boost by aligning with your natal chart. And then, like I said, diving deep to kind of tap into that abundant flow of energy, to kind of bring it into your life by letting go of stuff, which invites flow in, right? So the guides are downloadable. Like I said, they're normally $19 each. You can get them in a bundle for $27. And I forget to tell you all about this, and that's why I'm bringing it up. But what I wanted to offer, if you're catching the broadcast in the next 72 hours, if you decide to get the bundle, if you want the bundle, what I'm going to do is give you my super simple astrological interpretation generator for free with the bundle. It's normally $9, but I want you to have it because you're going to be able to pair it with the Lunar Living Guides to get even more out of them. And so it'll really help you fine tune your lunar living practices. And so the link for those guides, I'm going to put it in the comments. That way you can check it out. The bundle is, if you buy both in the bundle, it's always less expensive than buying the two individually. So I just want to tell you that right up front. And then if you decide you want the bundle, like I said, for the next 72 hours, I'm going to give you the other guide for free. And I'll email that to you after your purchase goes through. If you're wanting to take advantage of that, I'll keep an eye on things and let you know how you can get that for free. But the main thing to know too is that the Lunar Living Guides are going to work for you even if you normally use tropical astrology. So they work no matter what system that you use in your practice. Just remember, don't combine tropical and sidereal together in your work, because you're going to completely break astrology if you do that. Just don't mix them. But whichever one you use, the guide will still work for you. But But that wraps it for part 1 of the broadcast. What we're going to do now is move into just a review of each of the houses by rising sign and what the themes are of each of those houses. So grab your pen and paper if you need to make notes about this. And if you already know, you can take a break, go grab a snack, get a drink. We'll be back for part 3 here in a few minutes. Alrighty.